My name is Frank. My family is very close, and our house was always filled with laughter. But around the time that my younger sister Emma entered preschool, my father passed away from a car accident. My mother worked hard, but first we had to cut back on food, then stop after school activities. I knew even as a child that we were poor. My grandparents were already gone, so there was no one left to help us out. Mom, you don't look too well. Are you okay?
Huh? Yeah, I'm okay. It's probably just the heat.
Mom, you're always up working all night after we go to bed, right? You've lost so much weight. I'm worried about you.
I'm sorry to worry you, Frank, but I'm fine, really.
She told me to go to bed and wouldn't let me continue arguing with her. The following week, I was about to regret that I didn't press harder. My mother passed out and got hospitalized from overwork. After I graduate middle school, I'm going to work, so please, take it easy, Mom.
Me too! I don't want to see you sick, Mommy! Don't worry about me. Let me at least put you two through high school. Please, let me do that for you.
Her face was pale, but the fight in her eyes was still there. We didn't have it in us to argue any further than that. And we left the hospital feeling down and went home and ate some instant noodles as we cried together.
Frank, what's wrong? You don't look well.
How can I convince her to stop overworking herself? I was thinking in circles at school when Elisa approached me. Elisa is a huge girl, and all the parents mistook her as the teacher when we first entered middle school. Legend says that the parents asked her to look after their kids on the first day of school. Oh, nothing. I'm just hungry. Elisa smiled at me and handed me a huge package.
I love cooking so much, and I made too much today. Here, Frank, you can have this.
Oh, but I didn't want to tell her that I was just worried about my mother, and I was thinking of different ways to refuse the lunch. But when I opened the box up, it was like a jewelry box filled with colorful and delicious-looking dishes. After seeing it, I couldn't resist, and my hands were moving on their own, carrying the food into my mouth. Yum! As my stomach got full, I was swept up with a sense of happiness. It was like the heavy clouds in my mind disappeared, and the sun started shining through. This is it! Mom, I've decided to work.
Don't say that if you're worried about money.
No, it's not that. I found what I want to do. I'm an idiot anyways. Going to high school isn't going to land me a great job. I'd rather just start doing what I want right now and pour my heart into it. I want to be a chef. After my mother got out of the hospital, I tried convincing her many times. She said no every time. But when I mentioned Emma, the tides changed. Now's my chance. Unlike me, Emma is super smart, and she wants to study history. If she can go to college, that'll allow her to engage fully in her passion as well. If we both combine our money, we can help Emma go to college, right? My mother looked up and closed her eyes. After a long and deep breath, she slowly started speaking.
Fine, but if that's your decision, you better put your all into it, okay?
She finally agreed. And that is how I started working at a restaurant after I graduated middle school. It was a difficult job, but it was so satisfying to see the customers enjoy my food. And when my mother and sister and Elisa came, they praised my skills. I was so glad that I chose this path. On top of it all, it seems like I was a natural. One day, when I made a new dish using the ingredients at the restaurant for my coworkers, they all loved it. There were people from headquarters that day too, and they praised me as well. So I kept working hard and helped put Emma through college. Things were smooth sailing for a few years.
Mom, Frank, there's a man I want to get married to.
What?
You're getting married?
According to Emma, she met a guy at work where she worked as a curator, and he had proposed to her.
It's all thanks to you two for letting me go to college, which allowed me to get this job and meet him. Thank you so much, you two.
We all cried happy tears together. After that, the families met, and all we had left was to wait for the wedding. Just when things were going so well. My sister's fiancé, Jason, called me up. I met him at a coffee shop where he was waiting with his mother. His flashy mother was observing me up and down. It was quite uncomfortable, but I didn't want to be rude, so I quietly sat down across from them. Sorry to call you up so suddenly. There were a few things that I wanted to confirm with you. When our families met, your mother told us that you started working out of middle school, Frank. Does that mean that your final education was middle school? That's right. I got my current job right after middle school. After telling them that, I could tell that both of their expressions changed. That's quite surprising. I didn't expect a middle school graduate to become a family member of mine. Well, I may not have a great academic history, but I am employed full-time. I don't see how it could be a problem.
Oh, you really are an idiot, aren't you? People talk, all right. It's called public appearances. Emma is a college graduate, so I was under the impression that you were a well-educated family. But with middle school graduate genes, we might end up with a dumb grandchild. That's a huge problem.
Huh? Well, it's true that I'm not very smart, but my mother and Emma are both hardworking. I know. Emma is a very bright and wonderful girl, so I don't plan to call this marriage off. However, I'd like to ask you to back down a bit. Basically, their requests were that I don't attend the wedding and not touch their child when it is born, because my stupidity might rub off on it. They just rambled on their demands and left without letting me speak. What the hell was that? I was pretty angry, but a part of me understood what they meant when they said that a middle school graduate in the family doesn't look that good. As long as I keep my mouth shut and stay out of the way, Emma can have a happy family. I can't let her give up on her happiness because of me. That would be awful. I decided to keep everything to myself. Later, have you thought up of a good excuse to not come to the wedding? Let me know if you need help thinking of one. You were at the movie theater yesterday, right? I'm sure you don't make much money, so you should save that money instead of spending it. Jason started sending me rude text messages like that. Sometimes his mother would call me up and throw in her unnecessary 2 cents as well. Gradually, I started questioning this entire marriage. I was worried for Emma. Around that time, it was the annual thank you party at my work, and my boss said that I could invite my family too. What a perfect chance! I decided to invite my mother, Emma, and Jason. Thanks for inviting me. Is this your way of trying to show me that you work for a big company, Frank? I mean, it is a big company, but you're just a lowly employee, right, Frank? What's with the grin? Have you ever heard the expression, the fox that borrows the power of a tiger? That's what you're doing right now. Oh, sorry. That's kind of a difficult expression for a middle school graduate, eh? Jason waited until my mother and Emma got up to go to the restroom and started insulting me again. Ugh! This guy's pissing me off. You just wait and see. The party continued on in a nice and light mood. Finally, it was time for the awards ceremony where they handed out awards to the best employees. How much do these best employees make? Let me guess. Like 50 times as much as you, Frank? Wait, what? Jason's face froze instantly. Well, who could blame him? When they called the name for the best employee of the year, it was my name they called. I'm the head of development at the headquarters currently. I probably make about 3 times what the other guys my same age make. Sorry to break it to you, but I'm not as poor as you wish I was, Jason. Well, anyways, they called me up, so we'll talk later. I was originally a chef, but they wanted my arrangement skills and headhunted me to the development division a few years ago. After learning well from my mentors in that department, the company wanted to reach out to younger customers, so they chose me as the project leader because I was the youngest one. I thought long and hard every day of different menus that would be enjoyed by younger people, and the menus that I developed were a big hit, which led me to get awarded at this party. When I picked up my award and returned to my table, Jason was nowhere to be found. Emma realized something was up after seeing my disappointed face.
Tell me what's going on.
So I ended up telling her everything. I've never seen Emma so furious in my entire life.
I can't marry someone who looks down on my older brother. I'm canceling this marriage.
What? You should be grateful that I'm accepting you, even though you only have one parent.
I see. So you look down on me too. I can't do this. We're done. I'd never marry someone like you.
Apparently, Jason used his friends and coworkers to try to talk my sister down. But when he did, he spilled phrases like just a middle school graduate and even though she only has a single parent, which no one agreed with. He dug himself a hole so deep, he couldn't even be worried about Emma anymore. After being talked to behind his back, losing his friends, and having his ego destroyed, Jason quit his job and locked himself up inside his room.
Jason won't leave his room. He's screaming and yelling every day. This is all your fault. You better take responsibility for this.
One time, his mother came over and yelled at us.
You were the one who raised that monster. That's your problem, not ours.
My mother chased her off, and we never saw her again. Emma was depressed for a while, but a year later, she met another guy at work and she seemed happy again. They'll be getting married next year. Her new boyfriend is such a nice guy who always praises me for the food that I make. I'm so glad that Emma didn't marry Jason. Now that I'm worry-free, I'm gonna work as hard as ever and take good care of Mom.